Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hi, everybody. Welcome for coming, or thank you for coming. All right, guys, we're gonna run today a little different than usual. You're not gonna hear my standard spiel of put your questions in the chat. What I wanna do first and foremost is sync you guys up with Eric and David. They are from Agency Elevation. We talked a lot about them last week, so we figured it would be a great idea to invite them and have them come here and kind of tell us more about their service, as well as let you guys just kind of directly ask some questions to save everybody some back and forth via email. So my goal is to cover all of that first, and then let's see where we're at time-wise. If you guys have a pressing question, maybe just put it in the chat and just say, I have a question, and we'll figure out if we run out of time today on this call, I'll sync up with you guys through support to get to those. Otherwise, if there's time at the end, we can kind of go through that. But I think it will serve everybody best if we kind of keep the primary focus today towards what does it look like to use a white label provider. You guys have heard me talk about the leverage it's going to buy you guys back in terms of, leveraging your time, leveraging your results, being able to get started with, a proven system, a proven provider who really knows the ins and outs, like aside from the cost savings of trying to build that within, your own team. It'll be significant for you guys. So Eric and David are awesome. I'm gonna give them the floor a minute so they can kind of tell you guys about themselves, what that service looks like. I might chime in a little bit. And then from there, we could do kind of the same way we do through the chat as some Q&A if you guys have questions for them, but let's give them a chance first to kind of tell you about their services, and then that will probably answer some of your questions and then spark some new ones as well. So Eric and David, if you guys want to unmute, I'll give you guys the floor.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Betsy, for the introduction. So I'll start off. So nice to meet all of you here. So I co-own Agency Elevation along with David. We're 50-50 partners. We have leadership teams and teams beneath us I'll get to, but I technically oversee the ad side of the company. So Google ads, Facebook ads, and TikTok ads, and David oversees the SEO side of the company. Our backgrounds are each very deep in those realms. That's why we met up and have been doing Agency Elevation since 2012. Really within the last, I'd say 5 years or so, focused exclusively on white label, which is all we now do. In the early years, we did some other direct client work at that time too, but now exclusively white label. We are the largest entirely US based white label provider in the world. There's no one that I know of, and we know everybody, I think, in the white label world, our competitors, that is entirely US based to the degree we are. So we have close to 50 full-time employees now, all full-time with us, no contractors. We don't employ anyone who's part-time. Everybody's full-time in the US. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. David's in Wisconsin, but we have team members all over the country. And also too, within the company, everyone is hyper segmented. So like our SEO team, that's all they do. And even within that, we have a lot of segmentation and specialization. So we have link builders, we have content writers, we have Google business profile experts, we have schema people, we have developers, we have you name it. Our Google ads team, that's all they do. Facebook team only does Facebook. So everybody's split up, which provides a really high quality level of service. We don't have any generalists that are doing 10 different things at once. Just some other high level things, and then we can obviously hand it off to Betsy or David, open it up for questions. But we provide Slack communication too, which is somewhat rare we've seen in the white label world. So you guys would have really unabated access to us in Slack Monday through Friday. I mean, you can send questions whenever, but so you'd be directly communicating with the team members doing the work. So if you're doing Google ads with us, you'd be communicating with a Google ads specialist who's in the account. We don't have any middlemen, any middlewomen. There's no one in the middle. So you're communicating directly with the person who does the work. Really deeply integrated hands-on partnership too. So we can help with anything in Slack. Like if you have questions about a client that's not even with us yet, like say you're trying to land some new business and you're wondering what would be a good budget, what would be a good ad platform to use, what would be a good service to use, anything like that, you can lean on us for. What else? We have experience in, I mean, there's probably an industry we haven't seen yet, but I mean, all of them that I can think of, we actively work within, everything from like medical, dentists, orthodontists, psychiatrists, chiropractors, to anything under home services, plumbers, roofers, HVAC, to professional services, attorneys, real estate. We do a lot of B2B, we do a lot of e-commerce. So, I mean, probably anything you can think of. No contracts. The only thing we ask is a 30-day notice of termination if you were to cease with us entirely, but everything's month to month. No setup fees. Pricing's really straightforward on our website. Another thing too that we do here for the group that's special is that we typically have $1,000 a month minimum, meaning that you have to spend at least $1,000 a month with us in our services in order to work with us. But we have waived that for the group here. So you can start out with even only one client if you want to give it a shot. And yeah, so I'll pause there. David, anything to add? It probably pretty well covers it.
No, I think you covered it well. I'm letting Eric do more of the talking just because I have work going on in my house. So you guys might hear some loud things in the background, but excited to be here. And just like Eric said, I think we offer a really unique service, and I think it could be of benefit, and look forward to working with a bunch of you.
Awesome. Thank you for that, both of you guys. So I'm going to cover what a lot of you guys who come weekly already know, but just because we're going to make sure everyone gets the recording. For those of you who've come regularly for a while, you know that I've been looking for this type of solution for you guys. We tried a different one out towards last year and then did one out at the beginning of this year, but save yourself the work of trying to find someone like Eric and David's agency, because I've spent 6 months looking for them, making sure it's somebody who fits all of these individual things in terms of results, availability, more than just pressing the buttons for you, right? Like having that little bit of extra included with it. And then the price at the same time just absolutely can't be beat as well. So save yourself any trouble looking anywhere, because we've looked for so long. I mean, you guys know how long I've been doing this. You know what our initial solution was with Fit Club, where we were bringing people in, different variations of it. So one, we'll have a different conversation about all the leverage that you're going to gain back in terms of your time, your energy, your ability to focus on sales, your revenue by going with the solution. But know that they've passed our test, right? Like, you guys know we're pretty restrictive of who we're going to bring in and what services we're going to bring in. The support they have is phenomenal. And then especially Eric touched on a little bit, what you guys are getting offered through being in here and being able to work with them is you don't have to have 5 agencies to get started, right? In most cases, that's who their ideal profile looks like. It's somebody who has 5 because they know they're going to stick with it. What we've been able to discuss with them is, because you guys are coming in and they know you have a proven process behind it, they know you're going to have campaigns that are going to perform, they know you're going to be able to sell and close more. They're putting trust in us, saying, hey, we know your clients are going to fit the profile, that if we're going to waive this $1,000 minimum, we're pretty confident that you guys are going to go on and do more services and eventually get to that minimum anyway. And that's where we come in, because we're obviously committed to supporting you guys and making sure you guys scale, which in turn, they're giving that grace to let you guys start the solution really easily, right? It's a little bit harder to go from doing it yourself with 5 clients to handing that off with them. So our hope for you guys is that you guys get started with this right away, right? Once you have that first, 1, 2, 3 yeses, to just immediately get started with it. And then that solution will be in place for you going forward and make a really big difference for you. So that's kind of their spiel. That's my spiel. You guys have heard me talk about it for weeks now as it's coming. But let's hop into what your guys' questions are, if you guys are cool with that, Eric and David. So let's, I'll moderate if that helps. Jason, Shaw, I'm going to get to yours at the end because we kind of want to keep it focused on this to start. Jason, I know you're someone who had a bunch of questions, so let's unmute because I see you first in the chat. I know you got some questions.
I was still thinking about it, but thank you. Thanks, guys.
You have more than one chance to ask questions.
Yeah. Okay. So just a very general question. What are the best ways to set up my business for marketing success? Like, what are your recommendations? And do you prefer to create copy, or would you prefer that we do that? And do you fulfill that if we wanted?
Yeah, sure. So best ways to set yourself up. I mean, definitely a big question, right? So I would say what do you do?
Well, right now I'm in.
You mean like your agency setting it up for success, or?
No, like for marketing success, using you. Like, how do we combine what we do and you do for success? Like, who do you see that are your best clients, and what are they doing, and how can you advise us that way? I guess is probably
sure.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because you might say, well, it doesn't work because of A, B, or C. And, rather than me do A, B, or C, say, do it this way. This is where we're getting results. And I don't mean niche specific, but.
Yeah, Jason's profile looks a little bit different than other members because he has a lot of opportunities on his plate. So Jason, I almost, just to narrow it down for Eric, maybe you're kind of asking is there some basic parameters they see that's like, this typically works really well when you have your own copy written, you come to us at this stage? Those type of questions, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's great. Betsy, thanks for clarifying.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah, so I'll definitely take a shot at it. Let me know if I can drill deeper into any of this. So and if I get off on any tangents, I think it'll cover everything. But so we provide, like from an ad standpoint, for example, we provide all work within the ad platform. So no, like copy doesn't need provided. What I would say to set yourself up for success, like from a white label standpoint, working with us would be making sure you have the right people in Slack with us. So if you have account managers, because like with us being white label, we aren't directly communicating with your clients, obviously, right? So making sure that we have the pulse of your clients, though, like understanding what they're trying to accomplish. Copy, again, doesn't need provided, but ad creative, though, like for Facebook, you want to try to source something from your client. Like they don't need to have professional videos shot or have somebody come out and take pictures. But if we don't have anything to work with from a creative standpoint, meaning imagery or videos, then we have to use essentially stock imagery, right? So ideally that's able to be provided to some degree, but it could just be like us being able to pull images off of a Facebook page they have or a website or something. But we do everything from, full account setup to weekly optimizations. I would say, more to your question too, like anything kind of third party that falls outside of the world of being within the ad accounts would be good for you guys to have set up. Like call tracking is a good example. If you're doing Google ads, it's really imperative there's some type of third party call tracking software in place to make sure you can capture and record calls from the landing page of the website. Like CallRail is one that we recommend. So we don't set up like we can advise you on the nuances of CallRail, for example, but it'd be something that you would have your own CallRail account and kind of own. And then like just anything else like outside the walls of the ad platforms, but that play into it, right? Like GoHighLevel or whatever is recommended in the group, whatever type of CRM or lead nurture follow-up sequences are really important to have, particularly for Facebook ads. So, there's a lot that goes into it, but this ties into what I mentioned about us being there for you to help. So it's not like you just sign up and we're like, hey, we're going to run the ads and that's it. Don't ask us any other questions. We can help you make sure all of your ducks are in a row with all of this. I think last thing would just be making sure that your clients are using the right services. So I wouldn't just like blindly, think they need Facebook ads or think you might pitch them Google ads. Like understand why you're coming to the table with the services that you are, and keeping in mind that we have, several of them. So that's something too we can help advise you on. Like, should they be doing Facebook ads if they have no SEO presence whatsoever or any Google ad presence? It's debatable. So these are things to think about. I also, lastly to this question, want to mention that because I know there's different types of marketing agencies, maybe even some on this call that aren't a marketing agency and just have, a direct business, but we work with anyone from like at our minimum and again, below that now here for the group, all the way up to, we work with many multi-million-dollar year agencies. Some of them have 500 ad accounts with us. So I want to make that clear too, because sometimes with white label, we've seen that someone will come in thinking like, oh, this is just temporary, right? Like you guys can help me get up off the ground kind of thing. And then I'll go in-house eventually. But we see a lot of really large agencies that were in-house get rid of their entire department and come to us because it's a nightmare to manage for reasons we can elaborate on. But so we're set up to help all of you guys, whether you have 1 client, 2 client, 500 clients, it doesn't matter. And if you only have 1 or 2, we can help you scale to 500. Obviously it's easier said than done, but we have the team there to help you get there.
Yeah. And so Jason, everything that you guys have in SWAS, if you guys just gave them the campaign template copy and went with that, you guys are different than someone coming in off the street to them because we're giving you all the stuff that they need to get started, right? So Eric and David kind of know what you guys will come equipped with. And that is a good starting point as well, right? And then it's actually even more expansive from there at that point with them, that they're more than just pressing the buttons. There's those other things. And that lends to you guys maybe saying, hey, I just want to offer someone DR and I want to add SEO services, or I want to do DR with Facebook ads and I want this SEO add-on, right? It's kind of the same way that when you guys have GoHighLevel and you're doing the lead nurturing for them, they're never going to leave the software, right? Because somebody might wake up and reply and do that. You could do these add-on services with them to really complement with that so that you're not just looking at your MMR from those high ticket retainers you're getting up front. You're also looking at like, what is this going to look on the back end, right? What is it going to look like when this client stays in month 6, right? SEO is different in the sense of it's not the DR that you're going to get them results in 24 hours. And it's going to be like, oh my God, I just made my client $50,000. But what it's going to do is it's going to get them to stick, right? Because they want to keep staying optimized. So it really, everything they're doing pairs really well with us stepping in immediately after with GoHighLevel and doing all the lead nurturing, right? It's a phenomenal source for getting all those leads. And then you guys have that playbook to sync it with GoHighLevel and nurture all those leads. So every single effort they make and every single lead they generate, I would imagine people in this program are going to have a much higher conversion on than someone else walking in who's not doing that lead nurturing, right? Who's not following up, who doesn't have those proven sequences or sales processes. So the success that you guys can potentially have with this could very likely exceed a lot of the other clients they have, just because everything that happens after the lead that's generated is so different for people in this program.
Okay, great. That's great. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate that.
So Matt, I posted their website in the chat below, and then it's in the agency war chest. So if you guys go in your war chest, you have some of the FAQ just with basic answers of how does billing work and stuff. There's just that quick onboarding form so that we know you're converting over to them, and then the form to get started with them as well. Let me see. Oh, actually, Eric, you already beat me to it. Thank you. Brian, you've got a question for Eric as well.
Yeah, what's going on, Eric? So quick question, and I think a lot of people are probably wondering this too, but I typically get asked a lot on what kind of results that we could expect from Facebook ads and Instagram ads specifically. And I know it's a toss-up and it really depends, but do you guys have a general idea on, let's say, what you could expect to generate our clients depending on ad spend?
Eric, this is a fun one. I have an agency level answer for this, but give him your answer. And then Brian, I'll give you the answer that we would answer if we were getting asked it too.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so I mean, it depends, as you know, it depends on a lot of variables, right? So we would never want to give you anything that you would take to your client and promise them in any way or lead them to believe will be true. But given we work in so many different industries and we have so many campaigns running, we have a pretty good idea, but it has to be assuming certain things to be true, right? Like area of the country, or like we get asked it a lot of times, like I'm just making this up, like what's the cost per lead for roofers on Facebook? Like depends what state they're in. Also to campaign type, are they using lead ads? Are they using a conversion campaign? There's a complex quiz on it. So anyway, we can help get you in the ballpark of what we would expect, with the big caveat being though that you just, again, go to your client carefully, if at all, with that information. It's tough though, because I get it from your perspective, right? Like it's hard for a business to sign up with you if you're telling them, I have no idea what the results are going to be. So it's just one of those things you have to navigate, but Betsy may want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, because mine's the client facing answer, because we've been asked this quite a bit and people on this call have probably heard it before. Brian, what I typically say is, like, pretend I'm talking to a client. The way it works with the advertising is we are just going to reflect what your market's interest is in your particular area. And then from there, we want to optimize and highlight it. So the fact that you as a client kind of don't have an idea of what that cost per lead is a deficit to you right now that we'll immediately fix the second we get ads turned on. So when the ads get turned on, we're going to figure out what the KPI is on kind of the benchmark lead cost, right? Now, if you were to turn those on yourself, you could be thinking your leads cost you $100 because you're doing everything wrong. And that's what you're going to assume it is every time you advertise. So you'll probably make a choice not to run ads. Instead, we have a proven process that we know gets standard results. So the only variable we're going to plug into that is your business and your location. And from there, we're going to see where you fall against the benchmarks of the KPI. So once we have the ads running, I'll be able to tell you, hey, this is where you're falling here. This is what we're kind of expecting it to look like from here. From there, then we have the opportunity to optimize and change those things to make sure that we're getting you the best lead cost possible. But first, the most important thing is actually figuring out what your lead cost is by turning the ads on and seeing what your client's interest is in both the offer and redeeming that.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's a little bit of fluff, but that typically kind of puts the onus on them, right? So I won't go too deep into it because I know we do this a lot on the call, but there's certain things you need to put back on the clients and say, we are not expected to have every answer, right? Especially before they turn the ads on. After the ads are on, of course, we're accountable for that. But before, it's okay to put it back on them and say, we won't know what your conversion to sales is going to be because we don't know how you are at selling, right? But you're in better hands doing it with us and figuring it out with all these other variables controlled than trying to do it yourself.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That's typically what I try to, I guess, guide them to. But usually a lot of people aren't happy with that. So I try to give them like something that they could expect. So that's where things get a little bit difficult. So Eric, I don't know if you have the answer for this, but I'm in the fitness.
What you could do too is you could ask Eric and them like, hey, what do you think what's a rough KPI for a roofer, right? And Eric could say like $70, right? He'll ballpark it. you could use Math Logic and you could show them the Math Logic was $70, just with the caveat of, I'm not guaranteed this is your cost per lead, but let's assume it comes out around here, and then do the Math Logic based on that number without promising them that number. Okay,
so do we have to, because I think I saw that we had to collect payment and everything and get ready to set up the ads before I think, hop into Slack with them. So would I just send that to one of your emails and ask you guys that question to get back on it? Or
so if it's your first client, Brian, don't ask them yet because you wouldn't be working with them yet. Just ask us, like just ask in the group.
Okay.
If it's whatever it is. Like Haplin or I or Aaron or I could just benchmark that for you for the most part. And whatever that number is, you make it quite a bit higher, right? So you'd sit there and have it be quite a bit higher, but as long as the Math Logic works. So you could even sit here and say like, hey, I know their budget's only going to be $2,000 and this lead volume works with that. So you could make that number based on the Math Logic, but you just have to put the caveat of, well, let's see if we could get you a lead at this cost and how would it look from there? And then you do Ryan's Math Logic playbook.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Cool. Good question. John has a question for you guys about, so what do you do in terms of creative and copy? They just want clarity on which pieces of those you would cover, if any.
Yeah, sure. So copy we write from scratch. Again, a nice benefit of our team being here in the US, it's they know, I mean, we have Spanish too we can do, but, or any language really, but we handle the copy. We make sure it's all, of course, marketing centric, grammatically perfect, et cetera. If you guys would want to review it before we would launch it, we can, like, especially in the beginning, obviously it becomes a bottleneck if it's week to week, but so copy we do. Creatives I touched on a little bit ago, but to elaborate, so if your client for some reason has no images or videos whatsoever, like they truly have nothing, which would be hard to fathom, but if that were true, we would use stock imagery, which we would provide. And then for existing images though, so right now we do basic design to them, right? So we can add a border, text overlays. We feel like those things will help. We are in the process of launching something more advanced though. Like we are building out an in-house design department, which is going to lead to white label websites. Also, we're talking about here more robust and regimented creative that we can provide you. So the answer right this second is we do both, but with the creatives, again, ideally you're providing us real imagery and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, and most people will. I mean, they're attuned to like doing local businesses, and we've had this conversation on this call a lot about if you're a gym, you're picking an image where people are smiling so that you're getting that teeth and the Facebook rating. So images you should get, and a lot of people on this call actually have been using even like ad zombies for ad creatives.
And we don't edit videos though. So that's the thing with videos. We don't do any video editing, at least now. So we need those provided. But I mean, the thing is like with local clients, at least especially, you don't really, a lot of times people get really hung up on the creative. Like if the videos aren't really good or the images aren't that great, like we see a lot with local clients, it really just the raw, authentic videos and images work really well because they don't scream that they're an ad. So a lot of times people just try to make the ads too polished from a creative standpoint, but everybody tries to do that. So like if your client's a dentist, for example, we see really good results with just images of their team standing around the front desk, the waiting room, the building, just like a nice, even from like an iPhone, that's reasonably professional, like someone's hand is steady while they're doing it, but like the dentist introducing themselves or patient testimonials, things like that. So I would say don't overthink the creative. It's a very important topic, but you just want to make sure you can get a good bit of it from them. And then we do all of the labor from there. Like I mentioned, the testing and the overlays and things is helpful.
Love it. Eric, one thing we haven't touched on, but I want to make sure I reiterate because it wasn't the case the last time we had a white label provider for them, is you're not just doing client fulfillment ads, correct? You will also work, if they're doing their own lead gen for their agency, you would run those ads as well.
Yeah, correct. Yep. We do all of that as well. So agency ads and agency SEO.
Yeah. So guys, we have two things, the agency SEO, which we don't really touch on SWAS, but you guys would be crazy not to, right? If you guys have your websites up. So build a GoHighLevel website, run SEO for that. But it's the piece of, we're giving you guys that client acquisition system, right? So if you're on my call or Ryan's call or Haplin's call, we're sitting here saying, every time you guys get a lead, they should be coming into that client acquisition system, right? So Eric, everyone's coming with the funnel pre-built. That's probably going to look pretty darn similar because it's highly optimized. We've spent, maybe close to $1 million in ad spend ourselves behind it. So we've given that same funnel to everybody in SWAS. They customize it for themselves and then do ads from there. So where you guys were limited previously, where we only were talking about the option to do white label services for your client fulfillment, you guys can also do white label services for your own client acquisition as well. So as we're talking about this, We're going to mention it client centric because there's a lot of scale to that and the leverage is great, but know that at the same time, you could also be using all these white label solutions for yourselves too. Cool. All right, John, we just got your question about creative. David's got a question for you, Eric, about transferring current campaigns. David, do you want to ask that?
Yeah, sure, Eric, David, thank you for taking time out to meet with our group today. It's awesome of you guys, and shout out to my fellow Pittsburgher.
Yeah.
In the Berg, man, great. Hey, so I have a question about transferring current campaigns and clients. So like we've worked with white labels in the past and kind of like just really haven't found a home yet. So we didn't kind of take it back over, and what you guys are laying out sounds really great, but I'm just curious, like campaigns that are already active that now are under our umbrella that we kind of want to bring on a white label to, how does that transfer look? And furthermore, like how would you guys like diagnose the current state of that campaign? Like we currently have a rather larger campaign, and we would really love another set of eyes on it to kind of take another look at it and say, hey, you know, maybe we should be changing the way this is being approached and so forth. So I'm just curious what that looks like from your guys' point of view and how that goes into, you know, this month to month flat rates, you know.
Yeah, sure. So we could take over an existing account or campaign or client quickly. So we would just we'd get you right into Slack, and we would get information. We would get some notes from you, right? Anything we wouldn't know by looking at the ad account. So like the budget needs to change on this date, or this client never wants to use this word in their ad copy, or just anything that you would know that we wouldn't know by looking at the ad account, we would collect. And then within the first couple of days, we're just getting up to speed on the account, right? So we're definitely not flying, and you wouldn't want us to do this. We're not flying in unless it's like really bad shape. We're not flying in the first day and making 100 optimizations, right? We want to get a feel for the account, get a feel for what you guys have been doing, view the historical data, et cetera. And then as quickly as we can, which is usually within the first few days, unless it's a really large, complex account, we are then going to begin to make our initial optimization. So for existing accounts, we take these, I mean, we've had agencies that find us in the morning, and then believe it or not, like a couple days later, they give us 300 ad accounts that are already up and running. So like we're well experienced in coming in and being careful, not disrupting anything that may be working well, but, and also too, we'll get things to where we think they should be, which I think probably ties in your question, right? Like we're not just going to mindlessly run what you've been running. We'll definitely make sure that we thoroughly audit everything that's going on, that the, you know, the conversion tracking is set up properly first and foremost. And just make sure there aren't any holes. So like with Google Ads, a lot of times we see like responsive search ads aren't completely filled out. There's some headlines or descriptions missing, or maybe there's some extensions missing, or maybe there's just things that are, you know, not right. So we fix all of that, and then we just get into our flow. So it, you know, there's a lot to it all, but hopefully that answers your question. It's just a process that we go through very frequently, and that, you know, you have access to us in Slack, of course, we discussed. So we keep you in the loop to where we're at, and we communicate like, hey, we went through, this is what we saw, this is what we're doing. So that seems complex, it's seamless.
So is that an additional cost to review the current campaign? Okay.
Nope, no additional cost. Yeah, we just take it over and do our thing.
And
So
in
David,
terms
to
of,
give you an idea, I've had them take over the Facebook ad account for our marketing. So it's kind of the same transition you're talking about, where I basically was letting them in the ad account, talking about some stuff back and forth via Slack, but it works incredibly well. It actually works probably just as well if they're taking over a campaign as if they're starting a new campaign for you. It's seamless in both ends.
okay. So in terms of SEO, again, the same kind of thing. I take it you do national and local SEO, or is it just local SEO?
Yeah, national and local SEO. So local, you know, of course, anyone in local, Google Business Profile listing, and then national we do as well. There'd be B2B, e-com. Yeah, both. And we're actually, I'm glad you brought that up. So just so everyone knows, there's no surprises on our website. We need to update this for the process. If you look at our website, which I know has been dropped in the chat, the SEO pricing that you see there at $3.99, that's for local SEO, which assumes one Google Business Profile listing. Each additional listing is an additional $99 a month. A national SEO is more than $3.99. It typically starts at $5.99. But with our SEO specifically, this isn't really true with ads. With SEO, we do a lot of custom SEO plans as well. So say even there's someone on this call that only needs link building, or they only need blog posts, or they only need this or that. Definitely reach out. Like, don't feel like you're boxed into the SEO offering that's on our website. SEO means a lot of different things. So, but yes.
Okay,
we do
so
national and local.
if I could just dive in a little bit further, because I know we talked about Google ads, but I do have some SEO clients, and I'm glad to hear that. So one of my clients, we have a very customized plan. Am I able to go to you guys and say, hey, listen, this is what we're currently doing. Can you structure a price, customized package pricing plan for this current format, plus, whatever additional suggestions you may have, or however that looks, but are we able to evaluate the current package and what a client is getting, and then come up with a customized package and pricing based on that? Secondly, and I'll just, so you can answer both and then I'll be done. What about overseas clients? Some of our clients are overseas, and I know they're looking for SEO services as well. And we haven't quite felt comfortable taking that leap yet, for obvious reasons. And there are some white labels that are willing to do that. I'm just curious whether that was something you would take on. So yeah, customized packages and overseas.
So absolutely, we can do customized packages. Obviously, ideally, if you have 30 clients, not all 30 are on different customized packages. But yeah, absolutely, we can do that. And we do that, right? And we even occasionally have clients where they have 10 accounts on one package, and then they signed up this other client and it's on a completely custom package. Totally fine. We work with that. Absolutely. So yeah, zero issues with that. In regards to overseas clients, yeah, I mean, short of it being in China, just about anything will work. There's a search engine, for just about every country out there. So we can optimize. SEO is the same. Actually, there's less competition in a lot of other countries. So a lot of times the optimizations we do for google.com works even better in a lot of the other versions of Google, because a lot of those algorithms are actually far behind where the United States algorithm is. So absolutely can do that. No problem.
So can I reach out to your team and say, hey, this client's coming to me, this is what they're asking for. They want backlinks. They want, this, and that. Can you help me formulate that package for them?
Yeah, absolutely. You would just give us those details and we'll get that done. And I apologize, I have work in the background here, but
No, that's fine.
Absolutely.
All right, cool.
Eric and David, what's the best in the war chest? I gave them your email. Is that the best way? Like if he has a custom package before he signs up, to just ask you that?
Yeah, correct. You can email David and I, and just please put both of us on the email.
Yeah.
And of course, make sure when you email us, if it's, whether it's through the form on our website or directly, make sure you let us know you're from the group, so we know. We don't just think you're a random person who found our email address. We'll take extra good care of you if we know where you're from here. So yes, that would be the way to go.
Cool. Good question.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's a good
Thank
question,
you.
David.
Thank you.
All right. John has a question. If we keep the ad account in case our client cancels and wants to continue where we left off, I think he's asking, you guys are building it in their own ad accounts, right? It's not that you're there, they have full access to it, right? Within their business manager.
Yeah, and really you guys, like as the agency, would own everything unless you want your client to, but we stay out of that. So like for Facebook, you would add us to the business manager that you already have. For Google ads, we would be added to the manager account. Some white label providers try to take everything and it's theirs and they hold it hostage if you leave. Like we don't do any of that to you guys. We just slot in, we slide in quietly, white labeled email addresses, do our thing. So you guys own everything.
Yep. And it's the same rules that I hound you guys on every week, that you want to own the asset, not build it into your client's portfolio. So that way, if they cancel with you, they're kind of brought back to where they were the day before. That's not the case when you bring on a white label provider, but that is what you want to have happen with your client, is you want to own those assets because it's your IP, it's your proprietary stuff. You should add a zero behind your price if you're, building it into their ad account. Sean and Brooks have a content question regarding what we offer as the agency currently. What's up, guys?
Hey, great to see you, Betsy.
Good to see you guys. Been a while.
Been since Nurture and Close, yeah. No
Yeah.
doubt. And great to fellow Pittsburghers.
Oh, nice. Didn't expect to see a terrible towel on the call, right?
Yeah, it's great to meet you guys, be with everyone here. We've got a good deal of experience working with white label agency providers on different levels. This sounds really great. Really good to hear about you, and thanks for bringing it to our attention, the folks at Robb Bailey. So if we had, where we cut our teeth is content creation for about the last 15 or so years. And we do everything from high end to more organic looking stuff, videos, visual content. It's all original branded content. So it sounds like you guys will be open to certainly maybe seeing some of that for insertion or use in like a Facebook campaign. And we'd certainly love to get your feedback on your thoughts about it and how that could be leveraged if it would help. So just wanted to kind of confirm that, because we got for our clients, we got a ton of stuff available. And that would sort of help the process, in other words, with you guys working with you?
Yeah, absolutely. We would leverage anything that you guys have. And then of course we provide all of that. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. And then in terms of organic marketing, we've had a lot of success with clients where, their budgets were a little low, but the potential was there. We decided to take it on. So we'll put them into an organic, footprint building sort of a campaign, starting with the websites and the business profile on Google and across the social media network. We've helped a lot of them set those up so that they're branded and consistent and all that. And then we'll evolve them into, some paid SEO, pay-per-click type stuff. And so what do you guys think about, the organic side of things? Do you do anything that's organic as opposed to paid campaign-wise in certain cases?
Well, the only non-paid stuff we do would be anything within the SEO realm, right? So like we don't do any non-paid social posts. Like the only thing a lot of organic, yes. But yeah, again, just all through the Google side, or I'm sorry, the SEO side, which is essentially through Google, right? So yeah, anything on the website, Google business profile, backlink building, content, blog posts, press release creation and syndication, all of that. Okay, great. Well, Brooks has that among other departments here. And so that's good to know that we could enhance that. Some things it's what you don't know, what you don't know that you don't know, that we're always trying to fill in those holes. That's why we're here. And we came on board with SWAS and very interested in what you guys are doing here, and fully expect to be working with you. And just two sort of outgoing questions, if you don't mind. They're quick ones. What are some of the challenges you guys face? David, you kind of talked about, algorithms in different countries around the world. What are some of the challenges you guys face with the ever-changing, shifting tides of Facebook algorithms and that sort of thing? Well, it's always something. I mean, the big thing with Facebook has been, for a year now, over a year, it's been iOS 14. So we've been really trying to help our clients navigate that. Like those that were, those that were using landing pages or ads leading to a website, like conversion campaigns, they've been difficult since then. So, but it's always something. We're always trying to combat it and help. And these are parts of our service. So like we've been testing Hyros a lot lately, which is the leader in helping with iOS 14, like helping connect the dots from an attribution standpoint, missing pixel data, missing conversion data. So, with SEO, if the algorithm like our SEO packages, to your question, to combat things changing all the time. I always mess with David because it drives me crazy, but he's so right that this always needs to happen, that our SEO packages are always fluid. They've changed. Our standard SEO package has changed. Fundamentally, it's been content and backlink building for a long time, right? But the nuances therein, and then also some bells and whistles that coincide with that, have changed a lot for us. Seemingly every year. So we're, also too, with us working with so many agencies, being connected within a lot of groups, and some of the really, really large agencies we work with, we're exposed to a lot. So we'd have to prove this to you guys and everybody else on the call, but we really feel like once you get comfortable with us and see that what I'm saying is true, we're on your watch. So we're not just doing ads in SEO, and then you need to be thinking about like, oh, well, I need to be keeping up on Google Ads news. Like, did Agency Elevation see this? Does Eric have any idea about this? Like, this is all we do. This is the world we're in. We're not out selling clients. We're not doing anything but being in the world of SEO and ad fulfillment. So if something like image extensions came out for Google Ads last year, that was something we were out in front of. We added to every single possible account we could when they came out. It was nothing anybody needed to tell us about. So things are always changing. We do our best to communicate this stuff in Slack to let you guys know.
But certainly doesn't sound like you take a set it and forget it kind of approach.
Absolutely not. And you can't, and you know that.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Changes
right.
every day.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt. Just one final, if you don't mind, a quickie here. What's sort of the current expectation that when you're talking to an agency for them, like for us to present to a client in terms of seeing traction on an SEO plan? You know, you hear it varies, you know, in terms of months all over the place. Do you have a sense of what that's like today? Like if they're starting from
Yeah,
scratch.
so it's David may want to elaborate, but it's for SEO success, like in the map pack or organically, we say, and this is of course like not a guarantee, you know how volatile it can
Yeah.
be, but we say usually at least 3 to 6 months. It depends, right? Depends on the city. If it's a roofer in Dallas, Texas, who's trying to get into the map pack and they have like 1 review and like the guys in the top 3 have like 500 each, it's going to be tough sledding. So it depends, but a very, very general answer would be between 3 to 6 months to start to see some traction. And usually that's good enough, even if they're not where they want to be, which they're, not going to be in 3 months per se, but we use like, rank tracking, for example, among many other things from an SEO reporting standpoint, which I know tied another question here in the chat about reporting, but we should have some ammo within the first 3 to 6 months, typically, that you can show them, keywords starting to rise and such. So, and also too, we can give you a lot more realistic expectations, of course, like when we're, partnering together, knowing the client, right? If you give us the website, we'll do an audit and we'll get you a lot more detailed projections.
Gotcha.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sure thing. Thanks, guys.
Good questions, guys. Shaw, I think you have a question of tracking for them, right?
Yes.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's your question?
So my question, actually, I have a couple more questions other than tracking, but for the tracking, I'm more curious about how does that work? Do you guys just like give like the GTM and you place everything on that, or you give like a piece of like all the piece of pixels? How does that work?
So we, like for Google Ads, for example, we would create the conversion. So we'll use like a lead form, for example. We create the conversion action. We provide you the global site tag and the event snippet. For Facebook, we provide you the pixel and the event pixel, or whatever it is you're attempting to track. So technically you or a VA or whoever you want to have do it would need to place the code in the landing page or the website if it's within high level. It's super easy to do. We're also there for you. We're not going to physically, or literally do it, but we will make sure that you know how to do it, and we will make sure that it was done correctly. So we don't just send you the code and like tell you to figure it out and then we pray it works. Like we'll verify. You would come back to us in Slack and say, hey guys, it's been added. We will verify it's done correctly. So same thing with like landing pages I mentioned earlier in the call. Like we don't do, this is coming soon. We're not creating landing pages right this second, but we want to make sure though that you guys have good landing pages. Like we feel like they're not, we'll give you feedback. So that would be the answer to that question. You would just need, but it should be replicable. If you're always using this like high level or whatever for landing page, it's the same thing every time. It's easy.
I asked that question because some of my clients like have like 100 different like tracking to do. Like they need to like, let's say tracking about like the form field, they need to track like the button click, they need to track like the call, they need to track about, like the conversion of the purchasing and, add to the cart. And that turns out, and if they use 3 different platforms, right, that turns out a lot of pieces need to be. And so that's why like we probably handle that in the Google Tag Manager. And but you're still just gonna provide the pixel, and we basically I'm in charge of like place that in the Google Tag Manager. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and correct. And whether or not you use GTM is, another topic. You could, it's, it's smart to use if you have a lot that you need to place, or if it's like a website that is not easy to edit the code, then Google Tag Manager would be advisable. But if it's just a simple funnel or landing page, often GTM is overkill and you can just place it. In your instance though, it sounds like GTM could be helpful. Yeah.
Okay. And what about if some like the difficulty one, like you actually involve some like the program, like some like writing code? Do you guys give recommendation of that, or it's up to me to do that? Because I know now tracking is all same, I guess.
We want to help. Can I promise we can get someone in there writing custom code or something if the website's not functioning properly to, for a conversion to occur? Not necessarily, but we have developers that will help you to the best of their ability. So like they can take a look, they can log into the site. So it's it's like a gray area, right? We're not charging you to set this stuff up. We want to make sure we have a vested interest in making sure your tracking is working too, right? Of course, we can't do anything without proper tracking. So, you know, we haven't ever come across an instance where it was an issue, like where something wasn't set up and we couldn't do it or they couldn't do it. So.
Got you. Okay, so that answered my question. Another question is, for I guess for the beginning of the campaign of the projection part, let's say use example of like the Google ads, right? So let's say the clients like asking for like the keywords projection. Do you guys like actually provide it, and how in detail you provide it? Because right now, like sometimes, give you example, sometimes like they're gonna ask what the ads group and the ad copy is and what the keywords like including each like the ad groups. Do you guys provide in that detail, or just you know, like how you provide it, I guess?
Yeah, we can at the onset. Of course, I would advise that you try to steer your client from, you know, having that level of involvement from a granularity standpoint, because they might eat you up. Like once it goes live, like they're going to then want to try to write their own ads. And so, yes, to your question, but any client that wants that level of detail, I would be a little cautious of, just from my experience.
For like some bigger clients, like they spend a lot of money and they definitely have the in-house marketing team. And sometimes, yes, I absolutely agree with you, but sometimes you can't avoid it because they got people inside.
Clients spending a lot of money, but so yes, to answer your question, we can support you and provide any of that. There's nothing secretive to what we're doing, right? It's all in the ad accounts. We can send you the keywords, the ad copy, et cetera, but definitely something you would want to, like, as you know, would want to try to control early on in the relationship, or they'll also, it just devalues you too if they start to have too much input, but that's another topic. But yes, we can provide.
I hear you. I'm like facing that day to day, trust me. So, and another question is, do you guys like for the reporting part? I probably missed that part because I came late. I don't know if you already covered that. For the reporting, how did that go? Or is there any reporting? Or if like a customer, let's say we have a regular reporting of monthly. I'm just hypothetically say that, and in the middle, the client is asking something. Is like we need to provide a reporting. Do you guys support that?
Yes, we do. So for, you know, more of like just the quantitative number type stuff, you'd have access to a white labeled reporting dashboard. And there was a question about seeing an example. If to dig one up here and drop it in the chat. But all of you have access to every, like, on-demand dashboards. You or your clients are white labeled and look at them whenever you want to see all of the data within any date range. If you are an agency who has a lot of ad clients, another thing we can provide, it's usually really helpful on the Facebook side. Google too, though, is an agency level dashboard just for you that we run typically through Supermetrics and Google Data Studio. So say you have like 40 Facebook clients, we can set you up with an agency dashboard that's conditional formatting on it. So you can see all of your clients in one view and you can see how they're doing at any point in time. And then for more of like the kind of the qualitative type analysis that wouldn't be seen within a report that just has numbers, that's where Slack comes in handy. So say you have a meeting coming up with a client like tomorrow, for example, message us in Slack and we can let you know just some of the other stuff that the numbers wouldn't show, like some of the stuff we've been working on, observations we've had, analysis, et cetera. So you should have everything you would need from us to be able to know what's going on and be able to show success to your client, of course, short of, you know, making sure the client is doing their part too, right? Like the one thing our reporting can't show is what's happening with the leads. Like that's one big thing we encourage, is making sure that you have access. Keep using the dentist example, but you want to make sure you know which of the leads become a patient and tying all that together to really be able to show them the ROI of the efforts, but we'll give you everything we have.
Yeah, sounds good. But you guys do not get on the phone calls with clients, right? Just like for
So that was,
with
I think, another question too. Someone asked that these are like efficient questions.
Yeah. So Eric, let me chime in because I can tell the direction some of the questions are going. So I want to just do a quick reset button. So you guys, they are providing a white label service, right? They're not providing you guys a done for you service. So they will over deliver on where I'm going to say the boundary is, but know that there's a really clear distinction, right? They don't work for you guys. They're not employees. They're not contractors for you guys. They're providing a service kind of the same way you are to your clients. And there's really clear lanes you need to swim in within it, right? They're going to be helpful sometimes and slack you back with some extra stuff. But the expectation is they are here to run the ads on your behalf, right? They're not going to do your client reporting. They're not going to tell you what needs to go in the client reporting. They're not going to have like extra resources to give you outside of that necessarily. You really have to go into this knowing I'm here to pull this lever right here and have an expert running the ads for me, right? What you decide to report on with the clients really probably shouldn't include a lot of what they actually have anyway, right? Just because they have that report and dashboard available to you, we still have to step back as the agency owners and say, what am I selling them? I'm not selling them leads, right? I'm selling them booked appointments. So kind of like we talked about on the call, it's, you don't want to, just because you're going to get a really nice reporting snapshot from them, that's for your purposes, right? Eric's giving that to you to justify his services. That's not something I would advise you necessarily even passing on to your client, right? Because your client is there to get booked appointments. Your service needs to generate them revenue. And the only thing you really want to prove to them is this many people raised their hand, this many people walked in the door, you closed this many people, and this is the revenue from it, right? Anything beyond that in terms of what you're seeing on the Facebook side is too granular for them to actually really care about, right? The revenue and the MMR is the goal in most cases. So just be careful with that, because I can see where some of the other questions are going. And I really want to make sure we get a really clear distinction of you're signing up for a service and you're going to get access to them in Slack, but we can't abuse that or overuse it or go in with a false expectation that we're going to get anything other than them white labeling a particular service. So like them ever interacting with the client would absolutely never happen, right? The reporting they're going to give you, but for your purposes, right? Any resources they give you are going to be surrounded within the purpose of making that white label service they're providing you a little bit better, if that makes sense. Eric, is that probably where it's going to be?
Yeah, I think the only thing that the only exception to communicate with the client would be if you, and I don't have a number off the top of my head right here, but if you have enough clients with us, like, and Betsy hit the nail on the head, and even then it's not something that can be abused. We do for, like, if you have 400, I mean, this is extreme, I know, but say you have, 200 ad accounts with us and you have an important client call coming up, like, we can get on the call and help you out and they won't know who we are, but yeah, in most cases though, I mean, Betsy's exactly right. And, so, but it being in Slack, if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'm serious when I say that we really do go above and beyond to help in a lot of different ways. Worst, if you have a question in Slack, ask, right? Worst case scenario, it isn't something we do, or we can try to guide you to who would do it. But yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. But getting started with them being really clear what it is and isn't is important, right? Because we want to be clear on it so that as they over deliver, we're realizing that they're over delivering, not that we're kind of over asking. Okay,
Yeah.
guys, our time's getting a little short.
I have another quick question, Betsy, if it's okay.
Okay, do it real quick, Shaw, because we got a bunch.
Okay, and thank you for clarifying that. So, like the quick question is, do you guys do programmatic ads or just?
No, it's like, do we do Pinterest or do we do LinkedIn or do we do OTT or geofencing? We can do anything and know how to do it. It just, the only way we would do it would be at some level of significant scale. So like, no, if it's like one client, one's programmatic, but if it's, I mean, unless it's one client with a really big budget. So I would say any service outside of those you see on our website, yes, we do fulfill, but it has to be worth our time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same for you potentially, right? Like,
yeah. So for most everybody in the program right now, with where I know you guys are at, it would be limited to what they have advertised on the website and what we talk about in the program, right? If you secretly are holding a bunch of clients or a really high ticket client, that would be different. But for the most part, what we're telling is in the war chest, and then what they're showing on the website is where it's going to fall within.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I asked that because I white label for a long time. That's why I kind of like know guys process.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for that.
Brandon, do you want to ask your real estate question?
Yeah, I know we got limited time. Eric, thank you for your time, and Betsy, of course, as always. Kind of just, anything you could share about real estate and how that's, what kind of results your team's been seeing for that. Because I know I work with a couple of white label agencies and it's kind of hit or miss as to their process. Some of them prefer lead form, some prefer ManyChat. Obviously that kind of plays into the not, that the fact that it's not done for you. So anything and everything you can mention on real estate niche.
Yeah, I mean, not dissimilar to any others, like earlier in the call in terms of it just depends. I mean, perhaps obvious, but the best results are Just the stuff that's the most common, like first time home buyer leads and things. I mean, you can get $5 to $10 leads, right? Using a lead form on Facebook, but the quality often isn't very good. So, I mean,
So do you prefer something like ManyChat or a custom landing page for real estate?
it depends, right? Like, I mean, we have campaigns that are running well on lead forms that have a pre-qualifying question. The form is high intent. They have a really aggressive follow-up system in place and it works well. It also too depends on what your client is sold on. So if they came in with the expectation that it was going to like rain leads, then you would want to do lead ads. If they're more focused on quality, you would probably want to do a landing page, some type of funnel to pre-qualify. So it really depends. There's no universal answer I can provide, but
No. And do you see,
you know,
in general, do you see better results with Google or Facebook with real estate? Is that a fair question?
typically Facebook, just because Google is there's a lot of just a lot of like aggregation type sites on things in Google. It's spent a lot of money. Like if you're looking for a VA loan on Google, you're up against like a lot of these really massive players where you can just kind of, you know, put in your name and information, it'll spit out a quote. So Facebook's, you're able to advertise in a bit more of an isolated manner, if that makes sense. But both work. I mean, it just depends.
Awesome. Thank you.
Question. Eric Clifford has a question. I'm pretty sure I know the answer to it. So just say yes or no if I'm wrong. Clifford, so this is kind of like the outside of the scope for white label assets, PDF, lead magnets, case studies. Eric, I believe the answer is no. That's something an asset you'd have to come with.
We don't, what's that?
Oh, sorry, you were unmuted, or you're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a no, right?
Yeah, case studies and stuff, because we're white label, all of what we do is behind the scenes. So we want to help you guys though. If we have some screenshots we can provide, we can blur some things out, we will, but we don't have anything formal that we can like send you a folder, you know, and here's 20 things. We'll also help you build case studies from your own clients, which I know you need to get a couple first, but we'll help you get good results and formulate. I don't mean we'll create the case study, but we'll get the results that will support your ability to make one.
Yeah. And Elizabeth, because yours kind of ties in with this too, Brian could help you from a sales approach addressing someone asking for social proof, right? Because that's actually just objection handling more than it's something that you have to deliver. So that'd be probably a sales call or Brian's call tomorrow. He could go over that with you because we wouldn't ever, actually with Fit Club with 525 of them, we were not providing social proof, right? It was, do you need this, yes or no? And then doing the objection handling from that sales journey from there as well. And then Matt, I know the answer to this. They don't do DRs. That's probably the last thing I would probably outsource as a member of SWAS. That's something you want to hold the most tightly to, right? The inputs that go into getting those leads generated, that makes more sense to outsource. But the conversion of those is something you probably want to VA. You want to hold a little bit more close to yourself because everything's pointing to that. And then from there to the sale is the most important piece for you to own. So that, and then sales, unless you have someone who's awesome at sales. So that's the social proof. Anne's got the link to where that service is for you guys in the agency war chest if you guys haven't already found it. Eric, can you just quickly touch on the cost structures for the PPC display and Facebook ads? It might just be what's on the website.
Yeah, it's on the website. The only thing to add to what you see on the website though, from an ad standpoint would be those prices assume 1 to 2 campaigns running at once that we're optimizing. So if you have an account that has 10 campaigns in it, we can't do that for $2.99. So 1 to 2 campaigns running concurrently would be the pricing you see on the website. Ad spend doesn't affect our pricing. We get asked that a lot. The only thing that affects our pricing from an ad standpoint would be the depth or complexity within the account. So if you have 100 campaigns, 10, 5, 6, whatever, reach out and we can get you a custom price. Typically the math is simple though. If you have 3 to 4 campaigns running at once, just multiply our price by 2, right?
Perfect. I'll let you answer this after, Eric, too. So Kaylee, your question about offers in different niches, is each one custom? I would still definitely do the offers and niche training that we always have you do through SWAS here, right? Where you're actually first either taking one of our proven offers or doing that market research to find a proven offer in their area first. And then I would probably bring that to Eric and I'll let him answer if they have offers as well.
I mean, we have offers just by function of working with so many and knowing what exactly works. So yeah, if your client's a gym or a dentist or this or that, we can tell you what we see working, yes.
Yeah, but I think that extra like 30 minutes of seeing like what is their local market showing for offers, what is actually getting redeemed on Groupon, like what's getting redeemed on Yelp. If you're working with a local business, will take you very, very far. because it's showing it localized, right? The variable that we're plugging in is their location for local stuff. So knowing what's actually happening in their market makes a really big difference too. Clifford, how many times per week is it actively managed? I'll let Eric answer, but that doesn't totally matter, right? Like it's not about what is the rate per hour of input that they have, right? It's for their expertise, right? So if Eric's team can do it and they only need to check on it for 15 minutes, 3 times a week, they might have that insight and all their expertise behind them that lets them check on it for 15 minutes a week, versus if someone's way less senior and knows way less, it might take them 2 hours and 10 years to be able to reach that same decision for optimization that Eric could in like 5 or so. Eric, do you want to weigh in on that one too?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is you don't want to and not that you asked it this way, but you don't want to over optimize either. So any optimizations you make, you want to make sure there's a chance for data to accrue thereafter that you can make, subsequent decisions with. So we optimized at least once a week, to give you a number. So every single week of the year, we're in the ad accounts at least once a week, and then often can end up in there multiple times, especially depending on what's going on in Slack.
Awesome. John, I think we touched on the reporting piece of it, and then let's not touch on their Google My Business optimization, because that's kind of their strategy, right? They could talk about that with you one-on-one if you want when you sign up, but for the most part, whatever their optimization strategies are theirs, right? Like we shouldn't sign up with them based on what their strategies are. It's based on like wanting to pull that lever for time back. Content question. Oh, Sean, this is to me. Maybe I'll sidebar with you on this one. And then, yeah, no ever communicating with the client. PPC click fraud prevention in campaigns. Is that something you do, Eric?
We don't know, like ClickC, excuse me, third party is something you would need to sign up for. However, we get asked about that a lot. Is it worth it? I don't know. I mean, Google Ads does this already automatically. So Google Ads, you'd think would be, I mean, this isn't like, I'm not knocking ClickC's, I don't know those guys, but Google Ads does this automatically. They monitor for click fraud and they will automatically refund you if they suspect it. So, I mean, we have some that like it. I would say try it out, but no, it's not an included part. But don't think you need it though. I mean, it's an inherent part of Google Ads already.
Okay. Cool, guys. That got to the end of it. Sean, shoot me a support message if you have a question for me on that one. I want to be respectful of Eric and David's time and let them go because we've just held them a little bit longer. But you guys, thank you everyone for showing up. I think this was an awesome use of our hour today. Hopefully you guys learned a ton. You understand their service better. I mean, it's obviously even more than I'm even pitching it to you guys as. So now you guys have a clear understanding of just how much this white label service includes and how much you're going to be able to buy your time back while getting better results, which is the name of the game for this program. So Eric, David, if you want to stay with me a second, and everyone else can pop out, and you guys have Ryan tomorrow at 9 for your sales training, and have a good one, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Bye guys. Thank you.